You Win the Day podcast. Welcome to Win the Day podcast. Thanks for joining us. If you weren't on here, you missed me crying in my beer. Except I wasn't crying and I'm not drinking beer, which means I'll start crying in my water. Anyway, hope yesterday was awesome. Hope tomorrow's even better. We're going to talk about how to win today. And here's what I want to talk about. Okay. When I was younger yesterday, I used to be able to run. I could run like the wind. I could run forever. I probably looked good doing it. At least in my mind, I did, like with Fabio's hair flowing and the whole thing, right? No shirt, the whole thing. I can't run very far or very fast anymore. I mean, oh my Lord. And my knees will tell me about it for the next 3 months. So, but it got me thinking when I was cooling down. And I cool down longer than I run now. So at any rate, when I was cooling down, I started thinking, you know what? And you hear this all the time. You're as young today as you're ever going to be. You're not going to get any younger. This is it. This is as good as it's probably going to get for you or whatever. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in just a way. So it started me thinking on, you know what? If this is as young as I'm going to be, and I have as many number of days or whatever, none are promised. I wonder if I need to start thinking about all these things I've always wanted to do, but have put off. I'm waiting to do till the right moment, until something happens, a triggering event or something, or just I feel like doing it. Right. Yeah. And now I'm at the point where, be careful. Be careful what you're waiting on, because you may not ever get there. You're going to end up at the end. And we hear it so often, right? On your deathbed, it's never about all the days you worked and all that. And I just got done bitching about nobody working, so take this with a grain of salt. But you don't talk about the days you worked and the things you talk about your relationships and your experiences and all that. And the older I get, I tune in on that a little bit more. But if you're watching this, one, work your ass off such that you can have experiences that are worth remembering when you're about to die, right? Don't get me wrong on that. But the other thing I don't want you to miss out on is there's so many things that you could be and should be doing that will make your life infinitely better and more interesting, especially in a time of high anxiety such that we're experiencing now in the real estate market. I know it's hard. I know there's stress. I know there's pressure. I know. I feel it. I feel it myself. But do yourself a favor. Life is a gift. Life is a gift. Let's start tearing at some of that wrapping paper and see what's in there. You know what I mean? Go do something. Give yourself a gift. Live something. Take a cooking class if that's what you wanted to do. Start a foreign language if that's what you wanted to do. Start running if that's what you want to do. Right?
Get the right shoes. Get the right running shoes.
Get the shoes. Get the headband. Whatever. I got a headband that says "running sucks," but I'm out there. I'm like Jim McMahon that says Pete Rozelle sucks. But I'm out there. I'm at the Super Bowl, right? Now, if you want to run like Forrest Gump. I don't care. But my point is, there are things out there that you should do, could do, and I hope you do. And here's what I want you to do. This is how you're going to win your day today. I want you to think about it, right? Maybe it's a quick answer. I don't know. Everybody's different. But write down, what is it you want to do before I die, type of your bucket list. I guess that's what they call it. I don't even know if it's a bucket list. But what are some things I'd really enjoy doing that would be great? Write them down. Okay. I would really like to blank, right? And then write down to do blank, whatever it is you wrote down. I simply need to 1, 2, 3, whatever. What are the steps that it would take for you to do that? Right? I need to sign up. I need to book a ticket. I need to buy a box of pencils and some paper, whatever it is, right? Whatever your thing is. And write out your little plan, because now you got a goal and you got a plan. And how great is that? You can do it on your off hours, right? You can do it when you're free of your work after you achieved your goal for the day work-wise, whatever. And what I've found is when you start doing things that light you up, inside, the outside gets lighter. People are more attracted to you. You're more interesting. You have more confidence in what you're doing at work. And sometimes the stuff at work takes a second seat. Well, not a second seat, but is no longer as important as you once gave it. And when you start giving things less importance, you start, I shouldn't say caring less, but you care maybe a little less about the outcome and who you're working with. Your confidence grows, and people say, it's like, if you love somebody, set them free and they'll come back if they loved you. It's the same thing with your clients. If you want to do well with your clients, you should do well with your clients, but have some standards and let them go if they're not for you. And if they come back and they want to work within your environment, well, then you got something real. And I think it's easier to do that when you're feeling good about yourself. And I think it's easier to feel good about yourself when you feel good about yourself, because you just signed up, signed in, signed on, bought, did whatever you're going to do. You took a dance class. That's what you like. I don't know, whatever it is. Does that make sense? Mark, does that make sense to you?
Yeah. I think about what Dave Ramsey said about a budget. A budget is telling your money where you want it to go in advance. And I think a lot of times we don't budget our life of where do I want to go in advance. We are like a rudderless ship, just pushed around by the wind instead of setting sail and having a purposeful rudder. And I think that that's a big piece to this, is sitting down. It's not going to happen if you don't have a rudder, and that's your plan.
So here's one thing I know for sure.
Yeah.
When you're happy and you know it, your face will surely show it, right? Go ahead and write that down. Could be a song if you play it out right.
Yeah, you just got to clap your hands and
start clapping your damn hands. Right? But my point is, when you're happy, it's just things roll for you. It's a different environment, and so one thing I know, the second thing I know for sure is you're in charge of your own happiness. So don't give that out to anybody else to determine whether you're going to be happy or not. Take control of that. And a good way to do that is to create something that is going to make you happy. The cooking class, the dance class, the writing class, the travel, the whatever it may be, right? And give yourself a little something to hope for, to work toward, and all that stuff. That when you do it, and you go like, holy shit, I did it. I did it. Right? You don't have to scream out loud. It's just to yourself, even like, cool.
Right? I had a preacher that said, man is the only creation that God didn't finish. And each day by our choices, we are completing that creation.
So right on.
An oak tree can only grow as far as an oak tree can. And a bird has to fly south. But we get choice. We were given the dignity of choice, and we can screw things up. I've done that plenty of times. Or we can do some glorious things. I've done that plenty of times. We're going to do both, but in the end, we've been given that opportunity to finish that creation.
Totally. Destiny, impart wisdom from your perspective.
Well, from my perspective,
Thank you. Hey, joke never gets old for me. Sorry.
I think, to piggyback off what you guys are saying, being happy and really passionate about what you're doing pours into your business, and people feed off that. I got the pleasure of doing a coaching call yesterday and telling the people in the call that, when you're cold calling and you're on that dialer, yeah, you're going to get cussed out and you're going to have those bad calls. But when you're happy and confident, people feed off that and they want to listen. They'll stay on the phone longer if they can tell that you're into what you're talking about.
No doubt there's a glow that is put off.
For sure.
Yeah. And it comes from inside. I don't know, you can manufacture, you can try to fool yourself a little bit, but if you're happy, right? If you did something, everything's lighter.
Mm-hmm. And that's how I won my last listing. I went in there and he says, why should I hire you over anybody else? I says, because I love what I'm doing. I said, I'm so passionate about this and I'm having the time of my life. And that's what you're going to get with me. That's how we got it. I think that matters.
Awesome. Andrew, your perspective, what are you seeing?
I got a couple takeaways from this morning. First off, when you started out, my thought was, the purpose of work is to fund the perfect life. Mm-hmm. I don't know who said it. I think it was Dr. Seuss, but if you enjoy what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And then the last thing that I got was, reward yourself, not just for the big goal, because I think sometimes that's too hard. If I want a new Mercedes or whatever, that's great. And I want to work towards that, but also reward like each closing with something. Maybe it's a massage, but something, because it's so hard sometimes when you have a huge goal to sustain that level of energy along the way.
Totally. Totally get that. Plus, you don't need a big goal to be happy. Sometimes those little goals are happy. My kid cleans his room. You'll see the cartwheels down the road, right? All those kinds of things. Or this is what's really cool about kids, right? When they do something, you take great pride in it, right? Even the little things. I'll give you an example. My son came in, I wouldn't say he's little. I think he might even be taller than I am. He's going to school at Florida State. And we were talking about another guy who's trying to do something. And I don't know if I'm fully on board with what he's trying to do. I'm glad he's trying to do it, and I hope he gives it 100%. I don't know if he's on the right track, but let's find out, right? And I said to my son, I don't know. I mean, how's that going to help him get a job, or how's that going to help this, that, or whatever? Is anybody even going to care that this person's doing this? My son just says to me, well, it depends on the story he tells. I said, holy shit. That's right. Because everything, right? If you have a good story, you win, right? Yeah. If you're a storyteller, you win. People want to hear your story. And if I like your story, I like you. And my son, who's 20 years old, hasn't done crap ever. I shouldn't say that, but reasonably.
He's young.
Recognizes that, hey, if somebody has a good story, you go a long ways.
Yes.
And I don't mean it's some false made up bull crap, but if you can, it's like us when we take a listen. Why should I listen with you? Well, here's my story. I'm passionate, right? And if I believe your story, I'm in. So my kid got it, and I'm like, holy cow! I probably taught him that. Right? No.
That's your story.
Yeah, but it was weird, you guys, because at that point I thought, son of a bitch, he's going to be all right. He's going to be all right. I don't have to worry about him. He's going to be all right. He gets it. Whatever it is, he got it somewhere along the way. It's cool. It's cool. Yeah. So at any rate, let's talk about to win the day. I feel like the weather today is a little dark and rainy, but it's not. It should be light and airy, to be honest, because I want y'all. This kind of ties into yesterday. We talked about, right? Have a voice, be the voice, stand for it, whatever your thing's going to be. It's the same thing here. Find a thing that you want to do. Figure it out, right? Write down a sheet of paper. Think about it. You know what? If I could do anything, what would I do? What would I do? What would I do to make me happy? Right? Write out today, or what would make me happy is blank. Right? Just write out. Now you got a goal. And all right. So to do that, to achieve that, all I have to do, right? Freedom. All I have to do is 1, 2, 3, whatever. Maybe it's one thing. Maybe it's 50 things. Fewer is better than a lot. Keep it simple, doable. And then you have this nice goal, this nice plan that's doable, and you'll start to feel yourself getting lighter. And that's going to permeate through everything. And that will be a win for your day. And Andrew, you got any more on anything that you want to share?
Yeah, you got to set those big goals. It's just too hard for when I'm talk with agents and their goal is just to pay their bills. You know, they're not going to last long. You got to have something to look forward to. It just depends on what it is for you. It's figuring out that big why. It's really the main thing.
March has got his dog back.
Yeah, got my dog. She's lying right there.
There she is.
Cruz is just chilling with me. But, you know, here's the thing: is I wanted a dog. I wanted that aspect of just that companionship of I love a dog. I haven't had one since my last one passed, and I set a goal, and I said, all right, here's what I'm going to have to do. This is what here's my threshold, if you will. And I set a definite threshold of a month with a certain amount of income because I knew I wanted to have her trained and everything like that. And hitting that, she's a fulfillment of one of those bucket lists of having a buddy that travels with me and is well behaved. We'll see how well behaved she is. She just got back to obedience school, looking at me like, "You're not who trained me. Do I have to obey you?"
Right.
But we'll figure that out.
Nice. All right, guys. Well, that's what I got for you today. I want you to go out and win the day. Come back tomorrow. It's the end of the week, but find what makes you happy and then go do it. I think your business will represent whatever that is. All right, let's go. Let's go play. See y'all tomorrow. Bye-bye.
See you later.